Welcome back, Coach.
Sure, thanks.
Just update me on how the team is doing. You had a heartbreaking loss first game, great win the next day. Kind of dropped off in Game 3. How's the team doing right now?
Well, okay. I mean, we're playing competitively and playing closer ball games. We're usually good for 2 out of 3 games on the weekend. We just don't have enough pitching quality or depth to get us through 3 games on a weekend series. So Leonard and Malden have supplied some good starts for us. Jeff Johnson's been throwing well, the bullpen. I mean, it's disappointing, discouraging, frustrating, but, we're just – you have to keep on trying to get better, and each weekend presents different challenges for us.
Do you see signs of life that things are coming around? Jensen had a good game the other day. You need him to come through. Just kind of, what have you seen? Any?
A little bit. Like I said, I mean, the first month of the season we weren't even playing in close ball games, whether we won or lost. And as of the last 3 weeks or so, we've been, for the most part, most ball games we've been in every ball game. We've been in most of the ball games late, and just quite haven't had enough to kind of get over the hump. So, I mean, there's been some pluses, but not enough pluses to really think that we're going to take our game to the next level. We're still a ways off.
As far as what you've seen out of shortstop, you started with Miller, now it's Thompson. Yeah. As far as any changes, or you happy with what you see at shortstop?
Yeah, Thompson's been playing well defensively. He's only had a couple of bad defensive games, but he's made plays that nobody else in our team would be able to make from a shortstop position. Just hasn't, as a third-year guy, just hasn't really swung the bat that well. But, I mean, if you can live with being strong defensively up the middle, and you can afford a couple of guys that are good defensive players that don't really bring a lot of good offensive numbers, but contribute in other ways offensively. But the other 7 players in the offensive lineup have to be that much better, and that's kind of where our downfall is. I mean, we kind of knew we were going to be soft, 8 and 9 in our lineup, but we thought we'd be a lot better, 1 through 7, and we just haven't. Guys just haven't been able to step up for whatever reason, and that's the frustrating part of it. Pitching, we kind of knew that we were a little light on that end, and then losing Radke really hits us hard. And Jeff Johnson is one guy that has really stepped up, but we need 3 other Jeff Johnsons to step up.
So I know you got Fresno State on the road, but kind of talk about this series with Santa Barbara here at home, the rivals. Kind of talk about how good. I see that their starting pitching has been pretty ridiculously good. Just kind of talk about them.
Yeah, they're strong pitching wise. Hollins, their Friday night guy, is throwing very well this season, so that'll be a very tough matchup for us Friday night. But they're a quality ball club. They have enough returners from an offensive standpoint to be good, and pitching wise, they have quite a few of their guys back, and with one of the better pitchers probably on the West Coast with Hollins. So it'll be a good test, just like any game is a test for us, and looking forward to getting back and playing at Baggett Stadium.
Hey, Larry, with your position guys, in particular batting, where do you draw the line with waiting for a guy to come around and start hitting and doing the things you'd like him to do, and saying, okay, I'm going to bring in either A, a younger player, or B, just a different player?
Well, we just don't have a lot of options. So the difference in the talent level, I think, there's a big difference. We got about a 10-player lineup right now, and we pretty much go with those 10. Somebody sits out of that 10, and then for somebody on the outside of that number to get time, they really have to show you something. And some of them are just not good enough offensively or defensively. And they're just limited in what they can do. So you kind of live with the guys you have. We've already pushed a lot of buttons this year. There's only a few guys that you're not able to sit and push their buttons. But the other guys, the button's been pushed. For a few of them it works, for a few of them it doesn't. But the alternative is worse. Yeah.
Have you considered starting Jeff Johnson at all?
Yeah, I mean, we've considered starting everyone, but just you, it just leaves you extremely thin in each ball game. You know, to expect that your starter, whether it be Malden or Leonard, to go 8 innings, and some guys are, much better out of the pen just because when they come in, guys are more likely to be free swinging. And as a starter, you really got to prove that you're going to get a couple pitches over in the strike zone, and that doesn't always happen from some of our guys that are in the bullpen. So.
Is this an enthusiastic bunch? I mean, by nature. I mean, I know winning can make people an enthusiastic bunch, but just in terms of their demeanor and their nature and how they handle themselves, either in a practice or in a pregame or during a game, is this a rah-rah kind of group?
No. It's just very, very even-keeled, and there's not a lot of, like you said, rah-rah type of atmosphere. And I'm not a rah-rah type of guy, so they know that. And baseball, the whole game is very contagious. I mean, if your pitching is dominant, it just leads over to your offense. If your main guys are swinging the bat, everybody else seems to fall into place. And we just haven't, for whatever reason, had the ability to make things happen. So, I mean, if you look at a lot of our games, I mean, we don't do well in certain situations, and a lot of times we play just well enough to lose. And it says a lot about what you have on your team, and some players that are, if they're surrounded by good players, they have real solid seasons. But now, when those players are gone, then they have to be the guys. It's a growing process. So they don't get it right away. And baseball is a difficult sport. I mean, it's very, very tough. Football and basketball, when you have talent, usually talent wins out. In baseball, it's a lot more complicated of a game, a lot more complex, and the chemistry and the confidence is a must. And with winning comes confidence. I mean, if you start the season out well, it just breeds confidence to your team. Whether it's pitching staff-wise, position-wise. We just, it took us quite a long time just to start playing competitively.
Well, I just asked about the rah-rah thing because when you have the kind of demeanor your team has and you're winning, they're considered businesslike.
Yeah.
But when they're not, they can be considered lack of enthusiasm. And that's, I mean, you're okay with the way they are. That's why I asked, because I've noticed that the team is pretty much, like almost a 7-5 kind of mentality.
Yeah, I mean, it's in baseball. Rah-rah usually doesn't work. I mean, it's it's not a violent sport. It's not a sport where you need to get amped up. It's a sport where you need to be under control and to mentally be sharp. And if you're on the other end of that and too extreme, then you lose control of yourself. I think when things happen, our guys are fine. I mean, we've always been very, very even-keeled.